I'm Daniel Cunningham, CEO of Leonardo 24/7. Today, we're going to talk about optimizing the make-ready process. I have been in enough leasing offices and seen the make-ready boards on the wall with all the scribbles, trying to figure out what unit should be turned next and who needs the new refrigerator and who needs carpet cleaned. I have seen all of that enough to know that executing against the make-ready process that's efficient is very difficult. And having a clear and efficient process for your make-readies is really important for a number of reasons. Number one, any day that unit hasn't been turned and isn't back on the market, being remarketed and released, is a day that property is losing rental income. But even before that, if you're not documenting the move-out process to begin with properly, if you're not capturing the resident charges, if you're not capturing the damage charges, and putting that in a format that you can defend in court and getting that format out to the resident in a timely fashion, failing to do all that all will cost the property money at the end of the day. And the best tools we've had at our disposal used to be, the whiteboard on the wall where you were trying to scribble in everything that needed to be done for every unit, or where you'd take your clipboard into the unit itself and try to mark down everything that you saw that was wrong and then add the damage fees that should go along with that. And those days are now behind us. And now all you're doing is taking your mobile phone out in the field. So I have to say that I always thought this process of working with my teams in the field was so painful, that they would have to go into these units and, go through every single room and check off things that were wrong or things that need to be replaced, and have disagreements sometimes with the residents about, was the carpet that bad when they moved in? Was it not? With no documentation to prove one way or the other. Like, software can solve all that. You can do your move-in inspections and capture the state of that unit before that resident moves in, so that when they go to move out, you're like, yeah, that big giant burn hole was not in the carpet when we released this unit. And here's the photo. So capturing that information, even getting residents to sign off on it, like, yes, I agree, this is a fair appraisal of the state of the unit. And then having that information immediately go into a statement of deposit accounting, or go into the resident ledger and produce your receipt that you need to provide the resident. That is it's such an easier, more beautiful process, that you're going to not only make your life a lot easier, but you're going to get data that's more reliable, more defensible, and is going to secure more resident damage dollars than what you've been able to do before. And all of that helps the bottom line. And then you move it into the make ready phase, where rather than trying to track everything on a whiteboard, you just look down at your device and like, this is the unit I'm supposed to be in. This is what needs to be done. This is what has been done. Here's the next thing that needs to be done. Here's the guy that needs to do it. And check, that's been done. On to the next thing. And then real time seeing those updates, presented on a make ready board, on a digital make ready board, where you can see the status of every unit across the property that's updated real time as people are in there cleaning or painting or replacing carpets. It's like night and day. You'll end up with, again, a faster turn, where there's less haggling about where you should be, where your maintenance team should be focusing at that moment, what needs to be done next. You'll be able to project carpets that need to be cleaned, carpets that need to be replaced more easily than you've ever been able to before. And ultimately, at the end of the day, get those units turned in your 3-day or your 5-day, standard, so that it's back on the market making you money. And Leonardo 24/7 really is the best tool to help relieve you of all of the pressure and the stress that goes into these make-ready processes, because we're going to take you out of the role of having to administer and schedule and track and reassign. Let Leo do that. All you have to do is ask your teams to execute. Look at your make-ready board. It'll tell you where you need to go next. It'll tell you what you need to be doing next. And people can just get about the business of doing their jobs and not trying to figure out what that black scribble on the make ready board really means. I'm Daniel Cunningham, CEO of Leonardo 24/7. Thank you for joining me today as we discussed optimizing the make ready process. Please visit our website at leonardo247.com to request a demo today.